Ram Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य बीबीडी फाउंडर आचार्य सेवर ऑफ द होल वर्ल्ड श्री प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमती शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपिका श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन की ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की मथुरापुरी धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की गंगा मैया की यमुना मैया की भक्ति देवी की श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री गौरांगी बैंगलोरेश्वर की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र मैया की श्री श्री गौर निताय की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gaurang. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नित्य नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजाथा सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning discussion as a part of our Bhakti Vaibhav course, wherever we left off yesterday evening, 5th canto, 10th chapter, Maharaj Raghugan meets Jada Bharat. So, welcoming all the devotees, we will continue. We left at the 6th verse. Some purport was covered, and then a lot of discussion about astrology. So, faith in Krishna is superior to astrology. Those who have faith in astrology, for them astrology will work, and those who have faith in Krishna, Krishna's will work. One who tunes in with Krishna's desire, so then Krishna changes everything. Whatever he wants, that will happen. As Jesus says, "O Lord, let thy will be done, not mine." So one who tunes in with the desire of the Lord, for him Lord uses him as per his requirement. So we discussed some part of the purport. I will read a little bit more. Although he did not protest, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his agent could not tolerate the injustice of the dacoits. Therefore, he was saved by the mercy of Krishna, and the dacoits were killed. In Vishwanath Shakti Thakur's commentary, he says that this king of the dacoits, he as well as he says also dacoits, in the next life they were liberated. Because they got to see Kali and also this Jada Bharat. Eventually, he also says that Jada Bharat's body was spiritual, not material. So, seeing such great soul, but certainly they misused and they tried to kill him. But next lifetime they were liberated. In this case, while carrying the palanquin, he also knew that he was not the body. This body was very strong and stout, in sound condition, and quite competent to carry the palanquin. Due to his being freed from the bodily conception, the sarcastic words of the king did not at all affect him. The body is created according to one's karma, and material nature supplies the ingredients for the development of a certain type of body. The soul the body covers is different from the bodily construction. Therefore, anything favorable or mischievous done to the body does not affect the spirit soul. The Vedic injunction is asango hi ayam purushaha. The spirit soul is always unaffected by material arrangements. In the morning, I went through Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's commentary also. Some part we'll discuss. In the 6th verse, Chakravarti says, actually, Bharat, like Shukdev, had a spiritual body which was not destructible. It was eternal. Because of the arousal of prema at this time, he actually did not have possessiveness for anything except the Lord. However, because of not attaining direct service to the Lord in that body at that moment, he manifested humility produced from increased longing and therefore did not want to offer his sense of I to the Lord. Because of this, Bharat made a show of having a material body, even though he was full of knowledge. Therefore, Shukdev also describes him as if he had a material body, if one takes the superficial meaning of the words. The last phrase appears to mean in his final body, made of the gross elements, senses, karma, and antakaran, produced by Maya, a body which was insubstantial, though having a particular appearance. However, it should be explained that his real opinion is that Bharat had a spiritual body. The body was absolute since it was devoid of prarabdha karma. That body possessed Vaikuntha Lok, samsthana, uh, something is there. He simply acted like a material person out of humility arising from prema. He had no sense of identification with me and mind. Thus, Bharat Maharaj has reached perfection. It's quite elevated. Next, seventh. Thereafter, when the king saw that his palanquin was still being shaken by the carriers, he became very angry and said, "You rascal, what are you doing? Are you dead despite the life within your body? Do you not know that I am your master? You are disregarding me and are not carrying out my order. For this disobedience, I shall now punish you, just as Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, punishes sinful people. I shall give you the proper treatment so that you will come to your senses and do the correct thing." 8. Thinking himself a king, King Rahugan was in the bodily conception and was influenced by material nature's mode of passion and ignorance. Due to madness, he chastised Jadabharat with uncalled for and contradictory words. Jadabharat was a topmost devotee and the dear abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although considering himself very learned, the king did not know about the position of an advanced devotee situated in devotional service, nor did he know his characteristics. Jadabharat was the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He always carried the form of the Lord within his heart. He was the dear friend of all living beings, and he did not entertain any bodily conception. He therefore smiled and spoke the following words. So in the commentary, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti writes, Bharat was the very form of being the friend of all beings. This means that he was merciful even to those who offended him. The king thought that he was learned. He had a little knowledge but thought he knew everything. The king did not know much about the conduct of great yogis, such as acting dull. Bharat smiled, thinking the king thinks he is a jnani, but he speaks like a fool. So here we see that how deluding is the conduct of Jada Bharat. And likewise, same thing with the pure devotees also. That's why Narottam Das Thakur says that Vaishnavara Kriya Mudra Vigyana Bhuja. One cannot understand the activities of a devotee. Srila Prabhupada once in one photo was so grave. So one devotee said, Prabhupada, you look very grave here. Prabhupada said, yes, that was the moment of highest ecstasy. So we cannot understand a person by his externals, especially pure devotees. For that matter, in 2.54 also, purport, Prabhupada says, Sthita pragya se pakka bhasha, that speech is the most important quality of any person. When he opens his mouth, then we come to know who he is. Here also he finds that till Jada Bharat spoke, Rahugan took him for granted and understood, thought him to be a very ordinary, low class man, Shudra, like that. But now, when he opens his mouth, then he will understand. Oh, this is not some ordinary person, he is a great soul. At least some great yogi, it seems. He compares him with very great personalities like Dattatreya or Lord Kapila and many others. He comes to his senses. So that's why one should not go by superficial look or appearance. In this world, we find Rajogun, Tamogun influence. People go by superficial looks. Like man sees a girl, she's beautiful, then he says, okay, I can marry her. A girl also will see, he has a lot of money, so good, I'll be happy. So superficial things won't work. So what is required is a substance deep within. That is what one should look for. Just like body is superficial, but the soul is inside. People don't see the soul. People see only the body. Likewise, they see the body's external features also, the clothes on the body also, the opulence in which the body is raised and all that. So these are not to be seen. Prabhupada in the purport says the distinction between a person in the bodily conception and a person beyond the bodily conception is presented in this verse. In the bodily conception, King Rahugan considered himself a king and chastised Jadabharat in so many unwanted ways. Being self-realized, Jadabharat, who was fully situated on the transcendental platform, did not at all become angry. Instead, he smiled and began to deliver his teachings to King Rahugan. Yesterday evening, we were discussing how a Brahman can be tested by how much he can be tolerant in the when he is offended, when he is insulted, because he has to be beyond bodily conception, that means beyond false ego. On the false ego platform, one feels offended. I am so and so, I am so rich, how can you say like that? I am very accomplished, I have achieved this success, that success. These are all superficial bodily achievements, superficial achievements. One very much identifies himself with that. Just like I think devotees tell that when while driving car and some auto is in between, immediately was, hey auto, uh, get lost, get out of my way, like that. So this is not the way. Recently, Her Grace, what is Nitai Sevini Mataji came to Pune. So she was giving very nice example. Like if I am driving car and I find in the mirror above that backside person who is driving car, he is not coming in the range, like that. And I'm frustrated. Then I stop the car, I get out of the car and tell that man, drive car this way, behind my car so that I can see in the mirror. This is not what we do. What we do, we just adjust our mirror, and then we see, okay, that person is visible. So don't try to change situations around, change yourself. So that is required. So here, because of bodily conception, one tries to change the situations around, the people around, and then people feel so much frustration because people don't change according to our requirement, our expectation, our liking. They will go their way because everybody is bound up by moods, and they will go on like that. Like people say, why can't you give little smile? He cannot smile. He's morose, miserable. He will not be able to give smile. It will be plastic smile, lasting for some time. But then next time again, he will not smile. People expect so many things. After getting married also, those people, they have so many expectations from their partners, and when they find that person is not able to, then it ends up in divorce only. That is the only way. And then they expect the same thing from the next person. Sometimes that also doesn't work, and second divorce. In the West, there is no end to that series of divorces. They go on and on and on till they become grandfathers and die, grandfathers, grandmothers. The grandson receives the marriage invitation card of the grandmother's marriage. He is not married, but his grandmother is married. Third time. So he has to go. Already two times he might have attended, at least one time, or second time. So this is the problem in the society. Sometimes a Vaishnava becomes superficially angry at a non-devotee, but this is good for the non-devotee. We have several examples of this in Vedic literature. Narada became angry on Kuber's two sons, Nalakuber and Manigriva. So they got darshan of the Lord, and Lord in the form of Damodar, bound with a rope that Mother Yashoda tied to his belly. Damodar delivered Nalakuber and Manigriva. Next, ninth verse. ब्राह्मण उवाच त्वयोदितं व्यक्तम् अविप्रलब्धं भर्तुः समे स्यात् यदि वीरभारः गन्तुर्यदि स्यात् अधिगम्य मध्वा पिबेति रसो न विदं प्रवादः. The great Brahman Jadavara said, my dear king and hero, whatever you have spoken sarcastically is certainly true. Actually, these are not simply words of chastisement, for the body is the carrier. The load carried by the body does not belong to me, or I am the spirit soul. There is no contradiction in your statements because I am different from the body. I am not the carrier of the palanquin. The body is the carrier. Certainly, as you have hinted, I have not labored carrying the palanquin, for I am detached from the body. You have said that I am not stout and strong, and these words are befitting a person who does not know the distinction between the body and the soul. The body may be fat or thin, but no learned man would say such things of the spirit soul. As far as the spirit soul is concerned, I am neither fat nor skinny. Therefore, you are correct when you say that I am not very stout. Also, if the object of this journey and the path leading there were mine, there would be many troubles for me. But because they relate not to me, but to my body, there is no trouble at all. So, sarcastic words that Rahugan had used for Jada Bharat, he is giving explanation. How he is on the bodily platform, So the statements of the king are correct also. No problem. So if on the soul platform we are, then we can see, okay, whatever is going on, there is absolutely no problem. Once two very fat ladies were going on the streets somewhere in US, America. So then there was by the side of the road some pandal program of ISKCON devotees, wherein His Holiness Jayadeva Swami Maharaj was giving class. And Maharaj just said, so in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, we are not these bodies, we are spirit souls. As soon as these two ladies, just while passing, they happened to hear, they said, what a great relief. Because they were very fat, many people would tease them, hey, whatever. Like in India, they say, hey, moti, a fat lady, like that. So, because of identifying with the body, which is obvious for anybody who is in the materialistic life, they were quite feeling pain by such statements which were they were hearing quite often. But now, when they heard that they are not his bodies, they were very happy. Okay, people are calling this external covering to be fat or whatever. Doesn't matter. So, soul platform only can be very relieving. All the solutions for our problems is not to identify with the body. Though everybody identifies with the body so much. From childhood, we have learned, oh, see how fair he is. His nose is exactly like his mother. All description related to body only. So you look like your maternal uncle, or you look like your father. So much body, and then developing the body, exercise, and what not people do, muscles, whole civilization, beauty parlors for women, and this and what you call gym for the men. Nowadays, women are also going for gym, and men are also going for beauty parlor. They have really transcended bodily platform. Foolishness. It's a foolish civilization. Crazy fellows. The tattoo is so famous nowadays. Tattoo shops, whatever else, like that. In our childhood, we used to have tattoo. Tattoo means very low class people, illiterate fellows. In Marathi, it is called Gondavani. That machine would be there, and that girl or she would write some letter, or boy will write, Om, or his name or her name, like that. The ladies who are married, they will write their husband's name, and it's very not what I call, not very systematic. It's not such a legible handwriting. That man who is there, he's not a very professional one. There's no machine used there. He just writes. His handwriting may not be good. That too is using machine. It will be written there, Rekha or Anil, something. And now it has become so sophisticated. My God, tattoo. It's crazy civilization. Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that one who is advanced in spiritual knowledge is not disturbed by the pains and pleasures of the material body. The material body is completely separate from the spirit soul, and the pains and pleasures of the body are superfluous. The practice of austerity and penances is meant for understanding the distinction between the body and the soul, and how the soul can be unaffected by the pleasures and pains of the body. So all of us should be blissful, mm, coming to the soul platform. But devotees also become miserable because they identify strongly with the body or mind or intelligence or false ego. So people feel so pained at heart. Why did he say like that? A lot of counseling goes on this matters only. Prabhu, he said like that, and why didn't he wish me? Why he said this? Why didn't he say this? Hmm? He said something that is not palatable, not acceptable, and he should have said something, but he did not say only anything. That is also a problem. But what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that nobody is bothered about. Krishna is saying you can free yourself from all this problem if you understand you are not body. But that we don't want solution. We want the problem. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur told Prabhupada in the first meeting itself. That only problem in this world is lack of Krishna consciousness, and only solution is Krishna consciousness. In this commentary, in his commentary, Chakravarti Pad writes, I will show mercy to this person who thinks he has knowledge by defeating him with knowledge. So this is best way, that we destroy the ignorance of others with the sword of knowledge. Yad anudhyasina yukta karma grantha nibandanam. So we have been all bound up by these fruity actions, and the strong bodily identification. So that can be all destroyed with the sword of knowledge. This is the best sword. When a person remains alive, but rejuvenated, or what do you call, revised edition. Now he knows properly in knowledge that who am I? I am not this body. 10th one, fatness, thinness, bodily and mental distress, thirst, hunger, fear, disagreement, desires for material happiness, old age, sleep, attachment for material possessions, anger, lamentation, illusion, and identification of the body with the self are all transformations of the material covering of the spirit soul. A person absorbed in the material bodily conception is affected by these things. But I am free from all bodily conceptions. Consequently, I am neither fat nor skinny nor anything else you have mentioned. So this is so nice. Then we can chant also. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Because of bodily identification, so many thoughts come. Oh, I have to do this. I have to go to doctor today. And then what about that? Why he said like this yesterday? I will tell him today. No, I am also no less. We are crazy fellows. So many emotions, feelings. All these emotions are meant originally and actually only for Krishna. But because we are not Krishna conscious and we are bodily conscious, so much. How many of you experience mental dialogue while chanting particularly? So it's a very difficult time. So, but if one crosses or destroys this mountain of false ego between us and Krishna, then one has direct darshan of Krishna. Just like now, this only curtain, very thin though, this is only problem between us and Krishna. If this curtain is removed, the glass is there, that is okay, but many places is not there, glass. But the curtain is removed, immediately we can get the darshan of the Lord. So, like that, between us and Krishna, only this, not curtain, is a thick mountain of false ego. If that is removed, then we can see face to face, eye to eye, direct, 24 by 7. Darshan. That's why this philosophy is also called a darshan. Darshan Shastra. Darshan? Where is darshan here? There is no picture of Krishna. That is not the darshan. Darshan is actually with ears. Like here he is going to open his eyes. Yesterday I was telling, I think. When we hear through our ears, then the eyes get opened up. It's a very amazing thing. We can experience it every morning when alarm rings, our eyes open. Only when alarm sound goes inside, then eyes open. Ears are open only, then eyes open. So one has to hear philosophy, and then the real eyes will open, and in heart one will always see, get the darshan of the Lord, 24 by 7. As we discussed that, Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam, that beautiful blackish form of the Lord, Sham Sundar, will be visible at every moment. It's very easy. This is the easiest process. We don't have to go to forest, keep meditating, do so many austerities. Nothing is required. Again, Prabhupada here quotes Narottam Das Thakur, Deha Smriti Nahi Jara, Samsara Bandhana Kahantara. We are not bound by samsara, repetition of birth and death, if we are beyond bodily understanding, bodily conception. But because we identify with the skin, with this body, then so much we are stuck pinned down to this world only. Cannot elevate consciousness to higher level. Just like when we are driving in the city, so much signal and then speed breaker and then the people ahead, honking horns, and suddenly dog coming, man coming, so much of disturbance. But if you are in a plane, the plane goes above the ground level only. There is no speed breaker there is no signal there, no dog coming, man coming, and nobody in front who is blocking your way. Or flyover you have to get over. None of those problems, because you have gone above the earth, far above the earth, 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers, 13 kilometers. So likewise, we have to go beyond bodily conception. Otherwise, as far as bodily designations we identify with, then so many, all this, what we experience in the traffic of the city, same things we experience the traffic of so many thoughts, so many disturbances, troubles, continuous. Every moment the jiva is tormented by these thoughts. Speech also, people speak harsh words. People have fights also. There are riots. It's what not. One who is spiritually advanced has no connection with the body or with the bodily actions and reactions. When one comes to understand that he is not the body and therefore is neither fat nor skinny, one attains the topmost form of spiritual realization. Then ahead he says, when one is not affected by the bodily conceptions, one can advance to the Lord's devotional service. Nashtaprayashu Abhadreshu, he quotes, the more we advance our freedom from the bodily conception, the more we are fixed in devotional service, and the more we are happy and peaceful. In this regard, Srimad says that those who are too materially affected continue the bodily conception. Such persons are concerned with different bodily symptoms, whereas one freed from the bodily conception lives without the body, even in the material condition. So, bodily conception is very prominent, very strong. Devotees get affected by insults, happiness, distress, heat, cold. For Shad Goswamis, they were beyond all this. Though externally body showed the symptoms because the body was made up of material energy and was within material nature. The body showed symptoms, but they were not aware only. Like Raghunath Das Goswami, while meditating on divine pastimes of Radha Krishna in Golok Vrindavan, while sitting here on the bank of Radha Kund, he was with closed eyes going on and on. It was 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and Vrindavan becomes very hot in summer. So much profuse sweating. But he is not realizing only. But Radharani was concerned. So much my devotee is sweating. So she came and with the end of her sari, she held it above his head to save him from the scorching sun rays. And she was sweating then. And she was doing like this. And Sanatan Goswami happened to see that. What is this? And Raghunath Das Goswami is engaging Radharani in his cell, and she has to undergo this struggle. Then afterwards he said, what is this? Why are you doing like this? We have come to Vrindavan to serve the divine couple, Radha Krishna, but you are taking service. So then you should build kutir so that you will not face the scorching sun rays, you will not be sweating, and then Radharani doesn't have to come to protect you. He said, okay, okay. Next time again or some other time, Krishna, he saw that two tigers came to drink water of Radha Kund, very close to Raghunath Das Goswami, and with his closed eyes, he was meditating on the divine pastime. So then Krishna personally came with a stick and drove away those two tigers so that they don't disturb Raghunath Das Goswami. Sanatana Goswami again saw this and he was concerned. What is this? Now Krishna also has to be engaged in your service. And now I will not tell you to build kutir. We will only build kutir for you. Then they built a kutir and he was there on the bank of Radhakund. So this is the absorption. Absorption means you don't know what's going around. And how absorbed we are. We use these mobiles, laptop. They are the weapons of mass distraction. Already we have enough distraction, and by meddling with these dead devices, which are having so many allurements of Maya, we become all the more distracted. And in chanting, then we have all the problems. The biggest problem is, oh, my mobile is not charged. You are charging your batteries instead of charging our own batteries by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. One is more concerned about charging the battery in the mobile. This is how we are quite gross and external, superficial in our life. So one has to go deep inside. Spiritual life or spirituality means going deep inside. So that's why to avoid distraction, the yogis would go to forest. There are absolutely no distractions. So we don't go there, but we are supposed to go deep within our own heart in katha. Then we can be away from all these distractions. Otherwise, with the time passing, we are getting more distracted. In this, what he says. He says in Chakravarti Vasis, not only am I well nourished, but no bodily quality belongs to me. One who is born with a body, the jiva, who identifies with a body, certainly has all these qualities. I do not, since I do not identify with the body. So I do not have only those who don't identify with the body. So people may keep glorifying also or criticizing. It doesn't matter. Both don't matter. We say na sama dukkha sukha shami or tatha manapamanayo. One should be equipoised in man and apman. And we wonder how, okay, in distress I should tolerate. But how in happiness I have to tolerate? In happiness, very nice, na? Let us be happy. Or when somebody dishonors, insults me, okay, somehow I have to tolerate. But when somebody adores me, appreciates me, glorifies me, what is there to tolerate? No, that is another problem also. That also has to be tolerated. Because that is on bodily platform only. All the appreciation we receive. Only what belongs to us is free will. How we use our free will, that also free will, how it gets shaped, it gets shaped by the desire originates from sangha. We associate with pure souls, then we desire to serve the divine couple, and when we serve, devotees will appreciate us. So then rather than getting carried away, yeah, I did this, one will rather say thank you to spiritual master and pure devotees. Because of them I developed the desire and I rendered service, and that was appreciated. It is not my glory, it is their glory. So this is not many times clear to devotees, and then when appreciated, devotees get carried away. And subtly, what happens? We like those devotees who always appreciate us, and we develop aversion to other devotees who many times give feedback. So feedback is not liked by many devotees. Because feedback is also not liked. So the degree aversion to feedback, that degree aversion to feedback also. But the test of a devotee is how much he is ready for feedback. And he takes it also in proper spirit. Next he says, 11th one. My dear king, you have unnecessarily accused me of being dead, though alive. In this regard, I can only say that this is the case everywhere, because everything material has its beginning and end. As far as you are thinking that you are the king and master and are thus trying to order me, this is also incorrect, because these positions are temporary. Today you are a king and I am your servant, but tomorrow the position may be changed and you may be my servant and I your servant, your master. These are temporary circumstances created by providence. So life keeps changing. In fact, Her Grace Rukmini Mataji was telling once that once a king announced, he asked his minister that what is your God doing now? You are so God conscious. What is God doing now? So God creates, He destroys and all that. That is all creation in the past, destruction at the end. But now what is He doing? Now what is He doing? So the minister was not able to answer. He was speechless. Then he said, "You don't know what your God is doing, and so much you are after God." So then he asked, "Who knows? Find out." So they announced in the kingdom, anybody who gives answer to what God is doing, as to what God is doing, then we'll give him big reward. So many people came and they were all talking about God creates and all this, and nobody could tell what exactly is doing now in the present tense. What they call uh, current, current present tense, something like they call. What is going? I am going. I am hearing. I am sitting in this temple hall hearing Srimad Bhagvatam class. Present continuous tense, like that. So that nobody was able to answer only. So days passed by, and the king was mocking, he was making fun of the minister. What you fellow, nobody knows. And the minister was feeling so bad. And all his what you call blind following was being smashed. So after some days, one small boy came. He was very poor. From dress only, anybody could make out. He came in the court when court case things were going on. So then he said, "O king, you had announced reward for the one who will answer this. So I have the answer for the question. Would you like to hear?" He said, "Yes." And he was surprised. Everybody was shocked. How the child will answer? And big learned pandits, they could not. So then he said, "Yes, tell what is the answer." He said, "For that, you have to come down to where I am." He was sitting right nicely on the royal throne. So he said, "Okay, chalo. Maybe he cannot shout. He wants to tell in my ears, maybe. It's a secret, like." So then he got down from his throne. There were steps. He came down and he walked to where he was and said, "Yes, what is that your God is doing now?" He said, "Wait here." Then the boy walked. He climbed the steps. He sat on the royal throne. All people were shocked. What is this? How dare of him to sit on king's royal throne? And then the child said, and then the king asked, So what is the answer? Tell the answer. He said, this is the answer. What is the answer? This is the answer. What is the answer? See, those who are on a high seat, God takes them down. And those who are on low seat, God takes them up. This is what he continuously keeps doing in the present continuous tense. And everybody applauded. Chai, very intelligent. So that's what keeps happening in life also, isn't it? Those who are rich, they become poor, poor become rich. Those who are young, they become old. Those who are old, they die and they become young again. Next body. And this goes on and on and on like that. So we should have proper vision. In the purport, he says, the bodily conception is the basic principle of suffering in material existence. The spirit soul is in a deep slumber caused by the force of material nature. Prabhupada gives example that somebody is sleeping and dreaming in the night that a tiger is running after him when he's in the forest. And he's running with high speed, tiger is running. And slowly, slowly, tiger is faster than him. And he comes very close. And one point of time, he just pounces on that one person. He gets up in the night. And he sees around, it's all dark. There is no forest, there's no tiger. And he's sweating like anything. His body is wet, the clothes are wet. He's maybe heavily breathing also, fast breathing. But there is nothing there. There's no tiger. He never went to forest only. But because he identified with that dream very strongly, so then all the external symptoms and the fear and all was there. And now he's relieved. So what one has to do is just get awakened. That's it. To get rid of that tiger and deadly situation. That is what is called awakening to one's real position. That is called a self-realization. I am not body, I am spirit soul. Another king had a dream, and in the dream he saw that he was butterfly. He was flying, very colorful body, and wings he was fluttering, and then went to one plant with nice fragrant flowers, sat there, took out the honey, was intoxicated, flew to the next flower, and it went on for several hours. So morning when he got up, he was wondering, am I the king who in dream thought that I am butterfly? Or am I really butterfly who is in dream thinking that I am king? And then next day he called for the court, all people came, ministers, and he explained the dream very elaborately. So then I was going as a butterfly here and there, and this happened, that happened. And all were absorbed in hearing. After hearing for several hours the king description, then he said, now I am not clear whether I am king thinking I am butterfly or I am butterfly thinking I am king. What is the answer? And people who heard also, they thought maybe he's butterfly, and in dream he's thinking he's the king. And all confused fellows. So what is the answer? Neither is butterfly nor is a king. He's a spirit soul who in the short dream thought that he's butterfly, and in the long dream he's thinking he's a king. Both are dreams only. Both are not realities. The reality is I am Jeev Krishna Das, यही विश्वास कर ले तो आर दुख नहीं. Radha Krishna bol bol bolo re sobai. Everybody please chant name of Radha Krishna. Jeev Krishna Das. Jeev is servant of Lord Krishna. यही विश्वास, if he has this deep understanding, conviction, कर ले तो आर दुख नहीं. There is no dukkha. There is no dukkha at all in this world. Dukkhalam, Krishna says, but for whom? Who has turned his face away from Krishna. One who faces Krishna, for him there is only happiness. Our Prabodhanand Saraswati says that Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, Vidhi Mahendra Dishya Kvitayate. What is the beginning? Kaivalyam Narakayate, Tridashapura Akasha Pushpayate. Durdantendriya Kala Sarpa Patali, Potkhata Damstrayate. विश्वम पूर्ण सुखायते विधि महेंद्रादिश्च कीटायते यत् कारुण्य कटाक्ष वैभवताम तम गौर स्तुमः. So one who gets the sidelong glance of Lord Gauranga in his life, so for him whole of merging in Brahma Jyoti is narakayate, like hellish. Posts and positions of Brahma, Shiva, they are like very insignificant. And Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, the whole world is happy place, ecstatic. One is cheerful. Even Brahma Bhuta platform, that is what said. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Prasanna. How many people are prasanna nowadays? Once I was flying in a plane, So that air hostess is all, they give smile, sir, so what would you like to have, and this and that. So much smiling, happy, all that. And then the plane took off. They were told, now take your seats, sticking out in this side. So I just looked that she was so morose there, sitting, waiting for next course of action to do. All that smile and everything vanished. Very miserable. Then again they come. Similarly, they because it's a what you call, it's a profession, so they have to very smile. So recently when I was flying in some plane, so there she one of them she came and sir, what you to other people, would you like to have, this for you and that for you and all that. So they serve the snacks and all that. So then she went. Then after some time, one boy next to me only. There was a family, husband, wife, and they had one grown-up son and one small son. So that child, the big one, he was maybe 10 years old, around 10, 12 years. He vomited, and suddenly it happened. So he could not use that bag and all that. So it fell on the seat, back seat of that, and there also suddenly. So some, and the family, mother, father, they were quite concerned. Oh, our son, because it's a disease and he will feel uneasiness, vomiting and all that. So they were engaged in pacifying him. Mother was doing like this and all that. Then the lady next to me, she pressed that button. So then the air hostess came. Yes, madam. What can I do for you? She said. There. So she then saw there next, and she was like, and I was looking at her face. All her professional was at danger. She was like so disgusted. Oh, and then she could not give bright smile as she would always give. And she said, "Miss Madam, there is that bag there. You can use that and all that." She could not take out the bag because the things were spoiled over there. Hmm? She has to come, na? This lady wanted her help. They are servants of all the passengers. So, but she could not help to the best of her ability because the situation was so trying that she was crying. That vomit bag was if she tries to take it out, her fingers and everything will get polluted. So she told the mother only, Madam, there is that bag there. Please take it out and help him. Like that. So, so deep. If only that was her child, then she would have. Mothers care for the stool of their, means they wash their children clean up the stool after passing stool and all that. So, all our different difficulties are because of the bodily platform only. The spirit soul is in deep slumber caused by the force of material nature. Without self realization and knowledge, conditional life continues, and one falsely claims himself a king, a servant, a cat, or a dog. All this misidentification become our identification. So towards the end he says, Ekaleshwara Krishna Ara Sabhabhritya. The only master is Krishna and everyone else is servant. Forgetfulness of our relationship with the Supreme Lord brings about our suffering in the material world. So simple, but it is not understood only. Even devotees as practitioners, we feel no, Krishna, that is okay, but for my this problem I need to do this, for my that problem I need to do that. We have different solutions for different problems that we have. That one solution, surrendering to Krishna, that the mind is not convinced of. That I'm already surrendered. We very flatly say that I'm already surrendered. No. If you are surrendered, you will be blissful. One who is not surrendered, that's what Krishna says. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksheshami. I will deliver you from all sinful reaction if you just surrender to me. And then what? Ma shuchaha. No, do not fear. There is no fear for one who has surrendered. Just like before giving exam, there is fear. While giving exam, there is some fear. After giving exam, there is no fear, provided one has studied. The scholars like that. In one sense, duffers also they are fearless before exam, during exam, after exam. There's no fear. Fail to fail, no problem. But those who are in between, those who have not studied, they are fearful. What will happen? What kind of questions will come? I have prepared only half the syllabus. Those questions come, I will flourish. But if other question comes from option, what I have kept for option, then I will perish. One has to come out of the bodily conception. Then one is very happy. As soul, we are blissful. Satchid Ananda. 12th one. My dear king, if 1 minute here, I'll see what he says. Chakravarti says, you have said that I am living but dead. If you are defining me in terms of bodily identity, then living but being dead do not belong to me only. Everything seen is a transformation, since transformation takes place at every moment with a beginning and end. So I'm living but dead, but then that everything is like that. Whatever is living today will be dead tomorrow. And then that dead will be again appearing to be living. जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्यु ध्रुवम जन्म मृतस्य च तस्माद् अपरिहार्यते अत्वं शोचितुम् अर्हसि. In these inevitable changes in life, that every born person will be die, every dead person will be reborn. So this will go on and on and on. You go on with your duties. Don't get disturbed too much. Dhiras tatra na muhyate. 12th, my dear king, if you still think that you are the king and that I am your servant, you should order me and I should follow your order. I can then say that this differentiation is temporary and it expands only for usage or convention. I do not see any other cause. In that case, who is the master and who is the servant? Everyone is being forced by the laws of material nature. Therefore, no one is master and no one is servant. Nonetheless, if you think that you are the master and that I am your servant, I am the servant, I shall accept this. Please order me. What can I do for you? In the purport, Prabhupada quotes Bhaktivinoda Thakur song. Miche maya ravashe yacha bheshe khacha abu dubu bhai Jiva Krishna das yai vishwas karle to ar dukhanai. So he gives example how some object like a tire or bottle in an ocean, some wave comes, it just goes up. And next wave comes, it takes it down. So it goes up and down. Yacha bheshe khacha habu habu dubu bhai. Sometimes it is up there, and dubu it is inserted inside the water. So that is how we go through so many feelings in our life. Sometimes happy, sometimes distress. Other happy, distress, happy, distress. And it goes on and on and on. If one wants to stop all this and be permanently blissful, for that he has to come out of bodily conception. If they come to the understanding that they are the eternal servants of Krishna, they will put an end to this floating condition. Kamayesha Krodesha, he quotes. Due to the mode of passion, we desire many things, and according to our desire or anxiety, and according to the order of the Supreme Lord, material nature gives us a certain type of body. That's how 8.4 million species of life are there. Because devas have so many varieties of desires accordingly. Like if you see in this Bangalore city, all varieties of buildings and all varieties of flats are available. 2 BHK, 1 BHK, and then the size of one hall, that bedroom is all different. Mm. Because all different jivas, residents or citizens, have all varieties of desires. And they have all varieties of financial capacity also. So accordingly, they are there. Some people can afford in very costly residential complex, very costly it will be. But some people cannot afford. So for them, there will be flats, buildings away from the city. Some people cannot afford to be in flats. So for them, simple houses. Those who cannot completely afford, for them, huts, etc. So all these things are there because jivas have different desires accordingly. Next, he says that for some time we play as master or servant, as actors play on the stage under someone else's direction. The director is guiding the actors. Do like this, say like this, dance like this. While we are in the human form, we should put an end to this nonsensical stage performance. We should come to our original constitutional position known as Krishna consciousness. At the present moment, the real master is material nature. Daiviyesha gunamayi mama maya duratya. Under the spell of material nature, we are becoming servants and masters. But if we agree to be controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His eternal servants, this temporary condition ceases to exist. This is all a dream in one sense. Or it's like a drama, another this thing. In drama, we may act as some actor, some role may be there. And then we have certain dialogues to speak. But after the drama is over, then we are in our so-called real life, in which we are not that character. We have different functions, different things to speak, nothing to repeat from that. So like that, we have nothing to repeat from our material life, in our original spiritual life. Even this eating and all is not required for the spiritual body in Golok Vrindavan. We may have fun and in the spiritual body with Krishna, Krishna honors prasadam on the bank of Yamuna in Golok Vrindavan. So we also honor there as his cowherd boyfriends or whatever. But otherwise, all these activities what we do here, they have no role to play there. material activities. Spiritual activities, yes, they are permanent. In Chakravarti's commentary, okay, 13th, he says, "My dear king, you have said, you rascal, you dull, crazy fellow, I am going to chastise you, and then you will come to your senses. In this regard, let me say that although I live like a dull, deaf, and dumb man, I am actually a self-realized person. What will you gain by punishing me? If your calculation is true and I am a madman, then your punishment will be like beating a dead horse. There will be no effect. When a madman is punished, he is not cured of his madness." We see that. Which madman gets cured by beating him? He can temporarily control him, stop him from his nuisance that he creates. But otherwise, that is not the way. Purport: everyone in this material world is working like a madman under certain impressions, falsely acquired in the material condition. For example, a thief who knows that stealing is not good and who knows that it is followed with punishment by a king or by God, who has seen that thieves are arrested and punished by the police, nonetheless steals again and again. He is obsessed with the idea that by stealing he will be happy. This is a sign of madness. Despite repeated punishment, the thief cannot give up his stealing habit. Therefore, the punishment is useless. His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj, one lecture I was hearing recently. So he says that in the Western countries, the survey shows that almost 80% of the criminals who are put in the jail for whatever the sentence period, after that, when they go out of the jail, they end up with the same crime. If he was caught for stealing, he steals. And then again he is caught and he is again in the jail. And this repeats. And Mara was saying that 20% only don't repeat that same crime. And Mara said maybe they do some another crime. So they are not reformed. It is called jail is for reformation. They will be reformed. But they don't reform only. Their tendency to commit sin is very strong. They will do it by all means. So for that different thing, for them, the knowledge is required and spiritual practices are required. Then they will give up their criminal activities. That's why we have ISKCON prison ministry also. Devotees Holiness Chandramukhi Swami Maharaj is the head, I think. So they go in the jails and preach to these prisoners. Then they will revive. That is the way. Chakravarti says, "You have said you will punish me for being inattentive. What do you hope to accomplish by verbally or physically punishing a person who is situated in Brahman, Swasamstham? Though he may appear to be mad, or for liberated persons do not accept either what is useful or not useful. If I am not liberated but mad and dull, stabdha, by your punishment, you are grinding what is already ground. Just as by pounding powder, you do not create a solid object, but finer powder. By punishing the mad person, one does not pacify madness, but one makes him more incense." He's giving example of powder. We have some grains or whatever, we put them in mixer and they all become powder. Now we put powder, that same powder grinder we are using, it will only become fine powder. We cannot get grains out of it. So similarly, your all these statements, they are not going to remove my madness. This is a little philosophical section. Basically, the goal is to remove the bodily conception of life. That will be clarified little later. Next, 14th one. Shukdev Goswami said, "O Maharaj Parikshit, when King Raghugan chastised the exalted devotee Jadabharat with harsh words, that peaceful, saintly person tolerated it all and replied properly. Science is due to the bodily conception, and Jadabharat was not affected by this false conception. Out of his natural humility, he never considered himself a great devotee, and he agreed to suffer the results of his past karma. Like an ordinary man, he thought that by carrying the palanquin, he was destroying the reactions of his past misdeeds. Thinking in this way, he began to carry the palanquin as before. Those who are in gross bodily conception, they if they get diseased or some problem in life, immediately they go to so-called material solution. Disease, then they'll go to doctor. Oh, doctor, please cure me this fever or this or that, something like that. And otherwise, some other problem, they'll go to respective those who give guidance, counseling, etc. But those who are on yogic path, Gyan Marg or whatever, so they know, or even devotees for that matter, that this bhoga that I'm supposed to get, the suffering X amount of happiness and Y amount of misery, that will come in some other form. If I try to get rid of it now, it will come in future in some another way. So might as well I just suffer it all. Just exhaust it all. Let me go through it. And it is over and done. Like that. In Marathi, my father would train me from childhood and he would keep saying, Bhog bhogun sampole pahije. All that suffering that you are supposed to get, just suffer it all. Let it get out of your bodily tree. It is like Papa Pakshi, the other day I was telling. The sinful birds are sitting on this body, our body. This is prarabdha karma. And on that aprarabdha karma in the form of birds are sitting here. And sometime they will be troubling us. But then you just exhaust it. Let all these Papa Pakshis go away from your bodily tree. And then you are peaceful. My father, for 30 years, he did not go to doctor only. Once he had blood vomiting. He did not tell anyone. And years later, he told me. I never told that I had blood vomiting, because if I had told, all wife and others would be frantic. So I never went to doctor. Bhog bhogun sampole pahije. Just exhaust it all like that. So then I would also try, no matter how much suffering, suffer it all, tolerate. But not like him. So sometimes I would go to doctor. But that is true. In Prabhupada is quoting, and it is in devotional line also it is like that. Tatte anukampam sushamikshamano bunjana evatma kritam vipakam rudvagvapurvir vidadhan namaste jive tayo mukti pade sadaibha. So he said that krutam atma krutam vipakam. Vipakam. I was cooking khichdi. And then what happened? I was not attentive or I did not know. So the lot of khichdi got burnt, the bottom portion. The top portion was somewhat okay. The bottom portion is giving bad smell, and it's not tasty also. So if I'm taking that after offering to Krishna, if I'm taking that khichdi, oh, it's not tasting proper. But I cannot blame anyone because I only cooked it. Atma krutam. I have cooked that khichdi. If only somebody else would have cooked immediately, what is this, Prabhu? Don't you have sense? Are you not attentive? What? So much criticism. That's why Prabhupada recommends that devotees or anyone should cook himself and honor that prasadam. Why? Because he will not find any fault. Because you only have cooked, no matter how bad it is, you will not find fault and you will be healthy. Why? Because of the criticism and all mental disease, then we get physical diseases also. When you only cook, offer to Krishna and honor it, you may cry tears, but you go on. Like that. So it is good. So this is Prabhupada's solution. That devotees want, they can try. Cook yourself only. Then you'll be very healthy. You'll never blame anyone. And in the healthy state of mind, one will not get any physical disease. When suffering reversed conditions, the devotee always considers that the reversed conditions are the Lord's concessions. He is never angry with his master. He is always satisfied with the position his master offers. In any case, he continues performing his duty in devotional service. I was supposed to suffer more, but because I am engaged in Krishna's service, Krishna is out of his compassion. He has reduced the suffering to just a small token punishment. Like one devotee was cutting sabji and finger got cut. He went to Prabhupada, what is this? I was cutting sabji for Krishna. How did my finger get cut? Prabhupada said, your hand was to get cut. But because you are using the hand for cutting sabji, Krishna gave just a small token punishment. Just be happy. And then he was very happy. I got hand. Hand is intact. Little finger, little blood, no problem. So that is devotional platform. Devotee also tolerates. Now, how deep we are in bhakti, that much we will be tolerant also. How much we are humble, how to check? By tolerance. As much as we tolerate, that much we are humble. No need to check ourselves. Others will see. We have to tolerate. Others will know how humble you are. That's all. Because when we are intolerant, then only we lose our humility. I think, who is he? I am no less. What does he think of himself? So because I'm not humble, I think I'm very great. So then immediately I become intolerant of others' so-called misbehavior. But one who is very humble, he says, okay, I was supposed to. When Haridas Thakur was asked, why were you beaten up in 22 marketplaces? Like that. He said, because I heard blasphemy of the Vaishnavas. When did he hear the blasphemy of the Vaishnavas? Never. But that is the humility of a devotee. See how humble he was. Haridas Thakur. And that's how we can say how tolerant he was. 22 marketplaces, he was beaten up physically with the whip and by two executioners who were very powerful. The record was by second or third marketplace, the person would die, no matter how healthy or how strong. Haridas Thakur was skinny only, but he did not die. So that shows that how tolerant he was because he was very humble. So devotees, they are humble, so they tolerate everything. 15th was, or here what it says. Chakravarti Pad says, Bharat answered the king by explanations with repetition of the king's statements. Bharat had destroyed the cause of identification with the body, anatmya. Anatmya, ignorance. Atma we are, that we don't know, so that is called anatmya. So the cause of problem, Bharat had destroyed the cause of identification with the body, that is ignorance. Ignorance only leads to thinking that I am this body. And all people who are ignorant in that society only we are born, in that society only we are raised. Everybody goes by bodily identification and everybody says, oh, how you are, you have become so tall and you are so intelligent. It's all bodily designations and we think I am this. And that's how we, so to say, uh, are happy sometimes and otherwise we are unhappy, distressed. If Bharat had no material identification, why did he appear to be unable to tolerate the king's words and thus answer him? In order to destroy the king's prarabdha karma, recognized by enjoyment of royal wealth and power, in the guise of repeating the king's statements, by following the process of bhakti taught by Bharat, by his mercy, the king could destroy his karmas. So prarabdha karma in the king wanted Bharat, this Jada Bharat wanted to remove that. So for that reason, he apparently became angry when he was insulted with those harsh words, not on his own account. Or another meaning is he thought he was destroying his own karmas by his experience carrying the palanquin, upabhogena, since he did not consider himself a devotee due to humility produced by prema. He had prema, but then humility, because of prema that was produced, he thought he is not a devotee. So then apparently he became angry and he used some words against King Rahugan. But there is a compassion also on Rahugan. 15th. Shukdev Goswami continued, O best of the Pandu dynasty, Maharaj Parikshit, the king of the Sindhu and Savir states, Maharaj Rahugan, had great faith in discussions of the absolute truth. Being thus qualified, he heard from Jada Bharat that philosophical presentation, which is approved by all scriptures on the mystic yoga process and which slackens the knot in the heart. His material conception of himself as a king was thus destroyed. He immediately descended from his palanquin and fell flat on the ground with his head at the lotus feet of Jadabharat in such a way that he might be excused for his insulting words against the great Brahman. He then prayed as follows. So he came to his senses. He understood this cannot be an ordinary person. How depth? How he is so in depth in philosophy? Must be some great yogi or whatever. In the purport, Prabhupada says when Vishwamitra Muni came to the court of Dashrath Maharaj asked him the question to Vishwamitra Muni, Ahishtam yat tat punar janma jayaya. He asked the sage whether everything was going on well in his endeavor to conquer the repetition of birth and death. So this kind of question is to be asked to a Brahman because Vishwamitra Muni, yes, he is Brahman. So Brahman should be asked, how are your endeavors to conquer, to come to the mode of goodness or to the platform of self-realization, that you are not body, you are spirit. So for a Kshatriya, the question is asked, how are your endeavors to conquer other territories? For a Vaishya, the question to be asked, how is the profit in your business? How the business is flourishing? For a Shudra, question to be asked is, how are you? Most of the population in the world, 99.999, all Shudras. Kalo Shudra Sambhave. So that's why everybody, when they meet each other, how are you? Even devotees say, how are you, Prabhu? And then the devotee also may say, fine, I'm paying the fine to material nature. Sometimes happy, sometimes distressed. The fine payment is going on. Like that. So this is not the question to be asked. Even devotee ask Maharajas also, sannyasis in ISKCON, or gurus, how are you, Maharaj? How are you, Guru Maharaj? So that bodily platform question should not be asked ideally. For a devotee, what is the question to be asked? How is your bhajan? That doesn't mean that the devotee should all the time keep singing bhajans. Bhajan means spiritual practice. How are your spiritual practices? Which book of Prabhupada are you reading? Like I asked this question to one devotee. He said, Prabhu, nobody asked this question only. All ask, what service you are doing? Are you doing not? Nobody in this temple asked me this question. You are the first one. Years before, when I was young in Krishna consciousness, devotee would ask me which book I am reading. For years, nobody asked me this question only. I said, okay, no problem. Nobody is asking, I am asking. So, which book are you reading? Then he told whatever he was reading. So, these questions are not asked eventually. How many of you agree like that? How is your chanting going on? Nobody asks. I am sleeping in my japa, better not ask other because he may ask me, then I'll have to cut a sorry figure that I feel sleepy. So better not ask only deadly questions. So Teri bhi chup, meri bhi chup. You be silent, I be silent. And we'll ask about dynamic services. What service you do? That post Bhagavatam enthusiasm. After Bhagavatam class is over, then I show the whole world who I am. I work hard, I get funds, I distribute books, I do youth preaching, I do this. So much I accomplish. Until Bhagavatam, it's a very dry desert journey. Only the speakers, sometimes on Bhagavad Gita, they appear to be putting some drops of water there, which by the time reach me, get evaporated. The preacher seemed to have a glass of water next to him, and he has taken a lot of water, and but I am so thirsty. It's so difficult path. So one should be blissful in spiritual life. Happy devotee is the best preacher. Is only Radhan Swami Maharaj said. Devotees are only not happy, miserable. So what will they preach? Their miseries they will preach to others. They are having anarthas and they will preach their anarthas to others. So one should ask devotees when they meet each other how. So similarly, the other day we discussed about Dandavat. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, Dandavat Mataji. Dandavat is not to be used. Because we are never paying Ashtang Pranam to that Prabhu or that Mataji. So how on phone suddenly you offered Ashtang Pranam? Yeah, so ideally you should pay Panchang Pranam. Or if you say Hare Krishna, or like this, that is Ekanga Pranam. This is called Ekanga Pranam. Then Panchang Pranam and Ashtang Pranam is flat. Like that. That is only we pay to sannyasis and gurus. Please accept my pranam. Yes. But Ekanga Pranam then. Like this. Or you can say Vancha Kalpatarubhesha Kripa Sindhubhecha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavo Namo Namaha. So that is as far as addressing. But the next is question to be asked is how is your bhajan? How are your spiritual practices? What are you doing now? Rather than how are you? Many times it's on bodily platform. So we reinforce bodily conception in others whom we meet. So better not ask that question. If somebody is a doctor, he will ask the patient, how are you? Means how is your body? That is understood. Or somebody like personal servant to some sannyasi or guru. If he knows that Maharaj is being sick and he's administering the medicines and all that. So he may ask, how is your health now? That okay. And health means actually the soul's health only. Bodily health will be miserable only, no matter who you are. One of the best, what do you call that? He had a best health. Actually, one person near Pune, there is a place called Uruli Kanchan. So that person from childhood only had many diseases, lot of difficulties, lot of doctors he visited, lot of medicines, but nothing was helping. So then, so much he got frustrated. Then he got into studying all the books, naturopathy, this, that, and then he evolved with such understanding. He became very expert. He started that some naturopathy center, and he himself had the best health. Such a best health, such a nice health that even in the top hospitals of America, when whole body was checkup was done, they found no problems, flawless, amazing health and all that, and he became world famous figure. So because he had started his naturopathy thing, then he was giving seminars all over London, America, here, there. So once in London, he gave one seminar. He was a very famous speaker. He gave seminar in the seminar hall, thousands attended. Then he was going to where the car was parked. While going, there was some oily surface somewhere, and then he slipped over it and he fell down on the head only, on the spot death. He died in the best of health, but he died. So no matter how good one keeps his body, certainly Shariram Khalu Sadhanam. The body is the instrument for engaging in the Lord's service. But many times the second part is not so much stress, engaging in the Lord's service. The first part only, how is the body? You can do this for the body, you can do that for the body. And it ends there only. The second part never reaches only. That how is your bhajan with that body? That discussion doesn't go on. Then 16th, King Grahogan said, O Brahman, you appear to be moving in this world very much covered and unknown to others. Who are you? Are you a learned Brahman and saintly person? I see that you are wearing a sacred thread. Are you one of those exalted, liberated saints such as Dattatreya and other highly advanced, learned scholars? May I ask whose disciple you are? Where do you live? Why have you come to this place? Is your mission in coming here to do good for us? Please let me know who you are. Prabhupada in purport stresses on approaching Guru and inquiring about the self. Tadvigyanatham saguru meva bigacche. So here, Rahugan has accepted Jadabharat as his Guru. So Prabhupada's purport later part is very nice. He says, it is also significant that Rahugan asked Jadabharat which family he belonged to. There are two types of families, one according to dynasty and other according to disciplic succession. In either way, one can be enlightened. If he is coming in a nice dynasty, he will be enlightened by his forefathers and maybe the family gurus, etc. And otherwise, if one is in a disciplic succession, four bona fide sampradayas, Brahma, Rudra, Shri, Kumar, that way also is enlightened. In either way, one can be enlightened. The word Shuklaha refers to a person in the mode of goodness. If one wants to receive spiritual knowledge, he must approach a bona fide Brahman Guru, either in the disciplic succession or in a family of learned Brahmins. So we come in Achyuta Gotra. So that identification should be strong. Next, 17th. My dear sir, I am not at all afraid of the thunderbolt of King Indra, nor am I afraid of the serpentine, piercing trident of Lord Shiva. I do not care about the punishment of Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, nor am I afraid of fire, scorching sun, moon, wind, nor the weapons of Kuber. Yet I am afraid of offending a Brahman. I am very much afraid of this. So, this is what is required. One should be one who's on the beyond the bodily platform. He's fearless, but he's very fearful of committing offense to others, particularly towards devotees. Prabhupada's purport also sheds light on that. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was instructing Rupa Goswami at the Dashashwamedh Ghat, he pointed out this. Yati Vaishnava Pradothe Hati Mata, Upadeva Chendetar Sukhe Jai Pata. If while performing devotional service, while the creeper of bhakti is growing, if one commits Vaishnava Aparad, he lets a mad elephant loose, and the mad elephant enters in Bhakti Lata Bagicha garden and spoils the fruits, flowers. Similarly, if one offends a Vaishnava, he spoils all his spiritual assets. Offending a Brahman is very dangerous, and this was known to Maharaj Rahugan. He therefore frankly admitted his fault. There are many dangerous things, thunderbolts, fire, Yamaraj's punishment, the punishment of Lord Shiva's trident, and so forth. But none is considered as serious as offending a Brahman like Jadabharat. Therefore, Maharaj Rahugan immediately descended from his palanquin and fell flat before the lotus feet of the Brahman Jadabharat, just to be excused. The other things are not to be worried. Like that. How much we are concerned that some disease should not fall upon me, fever should not come, this should not happen. But how much we fear Vaishnava Aparad. We commit also, we don't realize. We just go on. And then there are a lot of difficulties faced in life because of Vaishnava Aparad. One can make advancement in spiritual life and go down also by offending Vaishnava. Advancement is by serving a Vaishnava, and going down is because of offending a Vaishnava. 18th. My dear sir, it appears that the influence of your great spiritual knowledge is hidden. Factually, you are bereft of all material association and fully absorbed in the thought of the Supreme. Consequently, you are unlimitedly advanced in spiritual knowledge. Please tell me why you are wandering about like a dullard. O great saintly person, you have spoken words approved by the yogic process, but it is not possible for us to understand what you have said. Therefore, kindly explain it. To Prabhupada says, saintly people like Jada Bharat do not speak ordinary words. To understand also is not so easy. It takes one to know one. Sometimes hearing great souls, we may misunderstand or we may not understand. So we need to go to some other. That's why at the end we have question answer session also. So that somebody did not get a thing well or misunderstood, understood in different way altogether. So he can seek clarification and it will be clarified. 19th. I consider your good self the most exalted master of mystic power. You know the spiritual science perfectly well. You are the most exalted of all learned sages, and you have descended for the benefit of all human society. You have come to give spiritual knowledge, and you are a direct representative of Kapil Dev, the incarnation of God and the plenary portion of knowledge. I am therefore asking you, O spiritual master, what is the most secure shelter in this world? Here Prabhupada quotes Sakshat Haritvena Samasya Shastra. An exalted personality like Jadabharat is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he fully represents the Lord by giving knowledge to others. And last line he says, if anyone is at all interested in knowing the spiritual science, Brahma Jigyasa, he must approach a guru like Jadabharat. 20th. It is not a fact that your good self is the direct representative of Kapil Dev, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of God. Is it not a fact that your good self is the direct representative of Kapil Dev, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? To examine people and see who is actually human being and who is not, you have presented yourself to be a deaf and dumb person. Are you not moving this way upon the surface of the world? I am very attached to family life and worldly activities, and I am blind to spiritual knowledge. Nonetheless, I am now present before you and I am seeking enlightenment from you. How can I advance in spiritual life? It's a very nice inquiry. Prabhupada in purport says, everyone must come to this knowledge. Bhagavad Gita 2:13 says, Dehi nosmin yatha dehe. Everyone is encased within the body. Since the body is never identical with the soul, the bodily activities are simply illusory. 21st. You have said, I am not fatigued from labor. Although the soul is different from the body, there is fatigue because of bodily labor, and it appears to be fatigue of the soul. When you are carrying the palanquin, there is certainly labor for the soul. This is my conjecture. You have also said that the external behavior exhibited between the master and the servant is not factual. But although in the phenomenal world it is not factual, the products of the phenomenal world can actually affect things that is visible and experienced. As such, even though material activities are impermanent, they cannot be said to be untrue. In the purport, Prabhupada says the soul's fatigue is not factual, but as long as one is immersed in the illusory bodily conception, one is affected by such false dreams. When dreaming, it is not possible to avoid the actual facts, and the conditioned soul is forced to suffer due to his dreaming. And Chakravarti says, you become tired by carrying a load since you are the doer. The doer becomes tired, just as I become tired when I fight. I did it. You see. So because you did it, you worked hard for it, you may feel tiredness also. Because we have the feeling that I did it. So on physical platform, one will experience some fatigue. But when one understands I am not the doer, Krishna is the doer, the material nature is getting it done. Prakrute kriyamanani, udai karmani sarvashaha, ahankara vimudatma, kartaham iti manyate. I am not the doer. I only decide and Krishna arranged and material nature, that Jiva, Prakriti and Ishvara, Paramatma, triangle. The Jiva desires and then Prakriti, Lord sanctions or does not sanction. Accordingly, Prakriti arranges facilities or doesn't arrange facilities. So my role is not that. So one can be on soul platform free from tiredness also. Like Prabhupada, disciples tell that when he came to India in a Bombay, when he was uh, ISKCON was to be established, Prabhupada would daily have minimum 8 programs in 8 houses. And not just go and eat and done. How 8 times he would not eat. He would go give lecture, do kirtan, and question answer, meeting family members. Some twice or thrice a day, taking prasan. And then next, sitting in the car, going to next. And the disciples would also accompany. They would be so tired by the end of the day. But Prabhupada was tireless because he was not on the bodily platform. He would get up also at 1 o'clock. One night, who was that? Prabhupada called for one devotee. I don't know whether Madhudvish Prabhu or whoso. I don't remember now. So Guru Prasad Swami. So he told servant, get him. So he said, now Prabhupada is calling. What is it? So Prabhupada, he came and he paid open. So yes, Prabhupada, you called me. What is that? Prabhupada said, what were you doing? So I was sleeping. Prabhupada said, you are sleeping? How can you sleep? I am not sleeping. Then he says that Prabhupada, you are Mahabhagavat, pure devotee. Prabhupada said, why are you not pure devotee? He became angry on him. Why am I not pure devotee? Because I am not pure devotee. I am on the bodily platform. So Prabhupada expected him also to be beyond bodily platform. So by serving great souls, one will go beyond. Hmm. Okay. Prabhupada was considerate. He knew that he won't be able to jump so high. Prabhupada was high jumper, but he was not. When dreaming, it is not possible to avoid the actual facts, and the conditions are forced to suffer due to his dream. Okay. 22nd. King Rahugan continued, my dear sir, you have said that designations like body, fatness, and thinness are not characteristics of the soul. That is incorrect because designations like pain and pleasure are certainly felt by the soul. You may put a pot of milk and rice within fire, and the milk and rice are automatically heated one after another. Similarly, due to bodily pains and pleasures, the senses, mind, and soul are affected. The soul cannot be completely detached from this condition. So he's stressing his point. Prabhupada stresses his point. Hmm. Prabhupada says that this conditioned state can be avoided if attachment is withdrawn from the car. Then the proprietor would not feel pleasure or pain if the car is damaged or whatever. Similarly, the soul has nothing to do with the body and the senses. But due to ignorance, he identifies himself with the body and he feels pleasure and pain due to bodily pleasure and pain. Recently, I heard one devotee had, not devotee, one man, he had parked his very imported car in one shop. He wanted to go for purchasing. He parked it in exact proper place in the parking area. Then he went to purchase whatever like that. It took some time for him, but meanwhile there were some children playing over there. So some of them, some child, he just scratched the surface of the car, some part like that. And that man was unaware. So he came out. When he came out of the mall, he was about to open the door. Then he saw that skull. He was so disturbed. Oh my God, who is this? And he saw the children also. He chased them, but they ran away. So upset. He could not punish the child also. Anyway, the punishing child was not the solution. So he was feeling very bad. Then he put his key in the vehicle, and the key was not working. And he tried here, there. It was not opening only. And he was wondering, what is this? Then he just happened to see that next to that car was exactly similar car of the same color and all that. Then he was wondering, what is that? Then he went to that car and put the key. The car door opened. That was his car. This was somebody else's car. And then he was so happy. Oh, it was not my car. The car scratched was somebody else's. And he peacefully sat and went away. So just see how the identification matters. Because he thought that my car was crashed by those children. He was so angry, he tried to punish us. But now it was such a great relief. So this is exactly the story of every jiva. He feels very disturbed when his child is in trouble and all that. In the animal kingdom and all, we can see sometimes there is cooperation there, but some other time somebody else's child or something is gone. The other animals go on grazing only. They are undisturbed. So, okay, my child is intact. The soul has nothing to do with the body and senses, but due to ignorance, he identifies himself with the body and he feels pleasure and pain. So in the purport, Chakravarti commentary, he says, an example is given to illustrate that the Atma becomes tired because of fatigue of the body and senses from carrying a load. Because of the heat of the fire on a pot, the milk within it becomes hot. Because of the heat of the milk, the outer portion of the rice becomes hot. Then the inside of the rice grains becomes cooked. Similarly, because of relationship with the body, senses, life airs, and mind, samsar of the Atma occurs. Samsar of the Atma occurs because of the identification. Then he says, Asu means life air and Ashaya means the mind. This takes place from successive effects of the coverings of the Atma, Anurodhat. For instance, because of the sun's heat, the body becomes hot. The senses become hot. Then the life airs and the mind become hot. Then the Atma becomes hot. Because of the identification only. If you don't identify, then you won't realize only. Absorption is a very amazing thing. If you're absorbed in doing something, we don't realize we are in the hot sun and the body has become heated up and all that. That time we don't realize. Again, when absorption is lost, then one feels, what is this? It's too hot and all that. How did these things happen? They happened already in the past, but he experiences now. That time when they happened, he was in absorption, some other absorption. That arrow maker example is given in 11th canto. Avanti Brahman had 24 gurus. So that arrow maker was so absorbed in sharpening the arrow. Whole procession of the king passed by for 15-20 minutes. He never realized. He did not see only. Afterwards, a friend asked, Did you see? So, no. And he did not hear any sound, did not find a single person pass on the street because he was only sharpening the arrow. That's it. Wish we had such absorption in our life. 23rd. My dear sir, you have said that the relationship between the king and the subject or between the master and the servant are not eternal. But although such relationships are temporary, when a person takes the position of a king, his duty is to rule the citizens and punish those who are disobedient to the laws. By punishing them, he teaches the citizens to obey the laws of the state. Again, you have said that punishing a person who is deaf and dumb is like chewing the chewed or grinding the pulp. That is to say, there is no benefit in it. However, if one is engaged in his own occupational duty as ordered by the Supreme Lord, his sinful activities are certainly diminished. Therefore, if one is engaged in his occupational duty by force, he benefits because he can vanquish all his sinful activities in that way. Raghugan is firm about his stand. By becoming detached, in the purport Prabhupada says, from material activities, we will be freed from fear and anger. By austerity, one becomes purified and eligible to return home back to Godhead. Vita raga bhaya krodha manmaya mam upashitaha bhavo jnana tapasa uta madbhavam agata. Prabhupada is quoting that. And by becoming detached from material activities, we will be freed from fear and anger. Vita means without, raga, attachment, and bhaya, fear, krodha, anger. One will be freed from attachment, fear, and anger by becoming detached from material activities. Next, he says, if one is engaged as a palanquin carrier in the Lord's service, that is certainly beneficial. In this godless civilization, if a president engages people somehow or other in devotional service or the awakening of Krishna consciousness, he renders the very best service to the citizens. We find that yesterday was the inauguration of Khargar ISKCON temple, Shri Radha Madan Mohan. So, the Prime Minister came, Shriman Narendra Modi. So, that is good. Because he comes, now daily thousands will come to that temple. Anyway, temple is very beautiful and in the surrounding there's so much population. But because of his coming, certainly the rate of visitors will be almost double, which in case he did not come, it would not be so much. So president is setting, or the prime minister is setting nice example. That's what Prabhupada is saying. That if a president engages people somehow or other in devotional service or the awakening of Krishna consciousness, he renders the very best service to the citizens. Like that. My Bua called me yesterday, na, that the temple is opening. Can I go? I said there will be a lot of crowd. So maybe go tomorrow then. He has come. Prime Minister has come. So go tomorrow maybe. She will go to today. 24th. Whatever he has spoken appears to me to be contradictory. O best friend of the distress, I have committed a great offense by insulting you. I was puffed up with false prestige due to possessing the body of a king. For this, I have certainly become an offender. Therefore, I pray that you kindly glance at me with your causeless mercy. If you do so, I can be relieved from sinful activities brought about by insulting you. In purport purposes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that by offending a Vaishnava, one finishes all his spiritual activities. See, here is one clue Prabhupada is saying. One finishes all his spiritual activities. One may attain the topmost platform of devotional service, but somehow or other, if he offends a Vaishnava, the whole structure collapses. Krishna is always very simple and by nature merciful. When one commits an offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, one must immediately apologize to such a personality so that his spiritual advancement may not be hampered. But the false ego dictates offending Vaishnava, and the false ego is not agreeing, doesn't agree to bow down to such a Vaishnava. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur would forcefully do that exercise. All both the brahmacharis who fought with each other, make them sit facing each other first. He will sit here, and the chairs you see him, and chairs are arranged only in that way. And then now you tell some glory of this brahmachari. It's a very tough exercise. One whom you have fought with, you know all his faults, and you never focused on any glory, so that's why you fought with him. But because Guru Agya is there, and they were at least having some sincerity to fulfill Guru's desire. Because after thinking for a while, then he would say that he wears very fresh clothes. Spick and span. So, okay. Then he would ask him, now you tell some glory in him. Again, he has a tough time. So then he would say, he wears nice tilak. Okay. Now you tell one more point. So then he thinks, and then you tell one more point. Then you tell. And like that, by the end of the exercise, they would understand. Very soon they would understand. Oh, the other person has so many nice qualities. I never thought about them. Why did I fight with him? This is required. That's why we have that glorification session like that. But sometimes it's arranged only once in a year on birthdays and all that. It should be ongoing glorification. Always, whenever we come across devotees, one of the ways I do is I say, like Raja Krishna Prabhu ki jai. Then I pay obeisances. So glorification. Anugrah Achyut Prabhu ki, Dinesh Prabhu ki, Abhimanyu Prabhu ki. Don't feel offended. I'm not taking all the names now. Hey, Prabhu did not take my name. He's angry, upset with me, or what? I have been serving him. Doesn't he remember? I served him prasad. Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrunda ki. This is in general. Everybody is included. All those who are assembled. But if there are very few, we can say this Prabhu ki jai, that Prabhu ki jai, this Mataji ki, all covered. 2-3 devotees. That is a good exercise. Glorifying devotees. And then 25th. O my Lord, O my dear Lord, you are the friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the friend of all living entities. You are therefore equal to everyone, and you are free from the bodily conception. Although I have committed an offense by insulting you, I know that there is no loss or gain for you due to my insult. You are fixed in your determination, but I have committed an offense. Because of this, even though I may be as strong as Lord Shiva, I shall be vanquished without delay due to my offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. That Punarmushtik Bhava story. That we have to remember that our greatness, whatever it is, by the blessings of great souls. And if we try to go against them only, again we will be reduced to nothingness, insignificance. We will be underground, invisible. Purport Prabhupada says Maharaj Rahugan was very intelligent and conscious of the inauspicious effects arising from insulting a Vaishnava. For first canto, there is one verse which says that because this Duryodhana and other brothers, they caught hold of Draupadi's hair, Kacha I think it is called, and pulled her to insult her, immediately it reduced their lifespan, opulence, intelligence. Several things are mentioned over there. So one should not misbehave here. When we appreciate, then we increase our strength. But when we insult others, our strength gets reduced. He was therefore very anxious to be excused by Jadabharat. Following in the footsteps of Maharaj Raghugan, everyone should be very cautious not to commit an offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Prabhupada quotes from Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya Khanda, 13th verse. Shulapani samayadi bhakta ninda kare bhagavata pramanata thapi shighra mare. Even somebody may be as powerful as Lord Shiva, Shulapani. He has Shul, Trishul in his hand. Pani means hands. So he may be as powerful as Lord Shiva, but if he criticizes a devotee, Bhakta Ninda Kare, Bhagavad Praman, Srimad Bhagavatam is the proof. Tathapi Shigramare, he will quickly die. Hena Vaishnavera Ninde Sarvagya Hai, Sejanera Adhapata, Sarvashastre Gai. That is the, okay, where is that? Hena Vaishnavira Ninde Sarvagya Hai. If somebody is all knowing also and he offends Vaishnava, say Janera Adhapat, he falls down. And all Shastras say the same thing. Vaishnavera Ninda Kari Beka Yaragan Tara Raksha Samarthya Nahika Konajan. Anybody who offends a Vaishnava, nobody can protect him. Durvasaman is the best example. He offended Ambrish Maharaj and Brahma could not help him, Lord Shiva could not help him. Even Lord Vishnu says, sorry, I can only release Sudarshan Chakra for the protection of my devotees. I don't have power to withdraw it. You go to Ambrish Maharaj. If he forgives, then Sudarshan will not cut off your head. Otherwise, Durvasa Muni's head also will be cut off. But Durvasa came to his senses. He begged forgiveness from Ambrish Maharaj. And Ambrish prays to Sudarshan. Oh my dear Lord, you are Sudarshan. आपका दर्शन बहुत सुंदर है. It helps others. It's very auspicious also. So let Durvasa be saved. Then he says, okay, I will not kill Durvasa. शूलपाणी समय यदि वैष्णव रनिंदे तथापि नाश जाय कहे शास्त्र वरुंदे. All the scriptures put together say that somebody as powerful as Lord Shiva also, he will be definitely destroyed if he criticizes a devotee. Ihana maniya ye sujana ninda kare. But those who say that we don't accept this, janme janme se papishta daive dosham more. Such a sinful person, because of his bad whatever disposition, he will die. So one should not offend Vaishnavas. So a lot of stress is there on that side also. So one side, bodily platform, bodily designation, conception of Rahugan is condemned. On the other side, how one should be careful about not offending Vaishnavas. That is also discussed. Any question? Yes, Abhimanyu Guru. Hmm.
Actually, person when he is absorbed in Shastra and is quite aloof from the general. It is very easy to maintain that consciousness of being detached from the body. But when person is there in association of many people, in absorption of
Absorption.
Shastras and scriptures, and when not to be observed in the scriptures, then the bodily conception also maintains. And one may fight over what kind of procedure we should take, what kind of disagreements.
That's why recommendation is Bhagavata Podagya Bhagavata Sthane. You cannot get into book Bhagavat at the cost of Vyakti Bhagavat or by insulting others. One should read scriptures and then one should serve Vaishnavas. Scriptures could be also read as a service to Acharyas. If that mood is there, then you are rendering service, Vaishnava Seva also, Bhagavat Seva, Nityam Bhagavata Seva. If not, then after reading books, then one should serve devotees. And then one will have the realization of that whatever he read, that how one should be respectful to devotees. Otherwise, he may become proud, or he may, as you said, aloof, and he doesn't get the strength to be able to respect everyone.
So when you are in a group of people, disagreements of opinion, what is a Vaishnava Seva? If you do like this is Vaishnava. If you do like this is Vaishnava. So when there is disagreement, so to come to a conclusion of what is Vaishnava Seva,
we have to ask that Vaishnava whom we are serving. And we should also see whether Guru Sadhu Shastra say the same thing.
Not one Vaishnava, many Vaishnavas.
So every Vaishnava has a different requirement, no?
Requirements are many, and my system cannot allow to satisfy their requirements.
See, your strength for serving more and more Vaishnavas increases gradually. Not that as you come in ISKCON, you are able to serve 10,000 ISKCON devotees. No. You are able to serve one devotee, one who brought you to Krishna consciousness. You have respect for him and you listen to him. And others you don't like, you don't respect them. But as you keep chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, then consciousness expands. And then one is able to see other Vaishnavas also, few more. And then he becomes their servant also. Still he is a small servant only. And as he keeps on chanting, serving Vaishnavas, his strength grows. And then he is able to serve hundreds and thousands and millions and billions of Vaishnavas. Then he can serve all the living entities also, Jivadaya also, everything he will do. So that doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. So continue the process, then you will be able to. And whosoever Vaishnava is there, we have to ask him only, how could we serve him? Then they will tell this way, that way. Like I'm going to Vijayawada tomorrow. So then one group of devotees coming from Gudivada, 15 devotees around. So naturally they will ask questions. They will ask philosophical questions, but more than that, practical life, how to live as life as a grahasthas and all that. So I will serve with them in that way. And I have arranged for their prasadam also. They are coming at 10 o'clock to meet me in Vijayawada ISKCON temple, but they want prasadam at 1 o'clock. So I said there are two times prasadam, by being in touch with the coordinators, that 9:30 and then 4:30 around. So they said, no, we will take. I asked, so would you like to take 10:30 prasad or 4:30 or both? So they said, no, we'll take that prasad only, morning 9:30 prasad at 1 o'clock. So then I have told the coordinator there, keep the prasad for these 15 devotees there. So there, because of lack of time, I will not be able to physically serve them prasad, but I would love to serve also. But I have so many other services, classes there, and other groups of devotees. I will arrange somebody else to serve, but I will sit with them because they are coming to meet me only. And whatever their questions are there, I will answer. Whatever, I'll give them prasad, like that. So their requirement is that, but some other local devotees have different requirements. So everybody's requirements are different, and accordingly, if it is according to Guru Sadhu Shastra, we agree, not otherwise. A discrimination should be there. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was approached by his lady disciple saying that, Guru Maharaj, I want to ask you something. He said, yes, ask. No, but in private. He said, no, I am a sannyasi. I cannot meet women in private. Here, these disciples, they are not going to speak here and there. You can ask in front of them, no problem. So because he is Acharya also, he knows Guru Sadhu Shastra doesn't recommend a man to be alone with a woman. And that too, a sannyasi, how can be alone in a room or something? At least one more person should be there. One more Prabhu or one more Mataji, like that. So if we are chanting properly, the consciousness will expand and then your capacity will also increase. You'll be able to serve more and more Vaishnavas. A neophyte will not be able to serve many Vaishnavas. If you could serve to begin with one Vaishnava, and then one Vaishnava is also very compassionate. He does small thing and Vaishnava says, yes, very good, well done. Isn't it? That devotees do. We appreciate that person and person also feels, Hare, so much appreciation. I did small thing only. Outside world, I did so many things. Nobody glorified me. So we also encourage. Just like children, we encourage. Ah, very good, very good. You are running very nicely. What running? He got up and he fell down. So then that encouragement makes him stand up again. And again he tries and he learns to walk, then eventually run also. So slowly, slowly capacity increases. You chant very nicely, then you see how you can serve unlimited number of Vaishnavas or all Vaishnavas. Gurus are like that. They are what you call Maharathis. They can serve millions of devotees simultaneously also. And Krishna also gives them special powers. Like once, I heard recently in one class, Sridhar Sadhana Swami Maharaj said, one lecture of Srila Prabhupada, he was sitting in New Vrindavan, and he was sitting in one place, and he was so happy during the lecture, because all throughout the lecture, Prabhupada was looking at him only. I don't know, my God, I'm so insignificant, I'm just a brahmachari, okay, head pujari, but still, I'm not a leader in ISKCON and all that. And Prabhupada is so compassionate, all throughout looking at me, what, how do I don't deserve this. He was very much melted like that. So then he was very happy. After the class got over and he told one devotee, he met one devotee. And that devotee said to Maharaj, Prabhu, you know what? That time he was a Prabhu, he was a brahmachari. You know what? I said, what? You won't believe, all throughout the lecture, Prabhupada was looking at me only. Maharaj was wondering, Are? I wanted to tell him that. So then Maharaj said, Acha, really? Oh, he said, see, I was sitting that corner, but Prabhupada was, so compassionate, I don't deserve. I am such a fallen disciple. Like that. And then when he said that, another devotee was passing by. He said, no, not you. Prabhupada was looking at me only all throughout the lecture. And they started calling. And Maharaj was watching, his point remained aside only. He's not able to open his mouth only. And then another devotee came, he said the same thing, Prabhupada. And these 4 or 5 devotees, Maharaj said they were sitting in different places in the lecture, in the temple hall. But everybody felt Prabhupada was looking at me only. And they were very convinced. It was no misconception or whatever. They were all convinced Prabhupada was all throughout lecture was looking at me only. He's very compassionate. He knows I'm very fallen and all that. And Maharaj understood. Prabhupada is very divine. All these people sitting here, there, all were convinced. So this you will develop eventually. All devotees will say that, Abhimanyu Prabhu glanced at me. Currently, even if you glance at some people, will say, no, Prabhu, why are you staring at me? Like that. One leader of one place, he was vice leader, youth center leader, like that. So about him, I got a complaint because I was brahmachari preacher over there. He said, Prabhu, this leader, he keeps staring at me. I said, what happened? So that day, I was talking to one devotee and he was sitting there talking to another devotee, and all throughout he was like this only. He was staring at me, Prabhu. And it was so scaring like that. Then I told him, Prabhu, that is not he was staring at you. He has a habit only. He, when he gets deeply absorbed in hearing somebody, his head goes like this and eyes go like this. And he was shocked. I said, even while he's talking to me, nobody around. When he keeps hearing me, eventually I find that his head goes like this and his eyes go like this. And he's very attentively hearing me. And he's not looking at the object there. There is nobody there. And even if there is a tree or wall or whatever, he's not looking there. He's hearing, absorbed. You understand? Na? But other devotees below him, he's a vice leader. That complaint came to me. He's staring at me. I said, he's not staring at you. That is his ways of body, physical body, absorption like that. So currently this is our status because we are not chanting properly. People are scared by our stares. But eventually people will say, I received the auspicious glance of Abhimanyu Prabhu. For our stare or whatever care should lead to glance, that will take time. You have to chant properly. You have to accept Krishna in our heart. When Krishna will overflow, then it will be experienced by others like that. Okay. Any other? Yes. Anugrah Chutru.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Three
Krishna.
words. You had mentioned two reasons which you will argue that why Jadavara spoke. What was the second one regarding the devotees?
14, no? I will read that. Bharat answered the king by explanations with repetition of the king's statements. Bharat had destroyed the cause of identification with the body, anatmya, ignorance. If Bharat had no material identification, why did he appear to be unable to tolerate the king's words and thus answer him? In order to destroy the king's prarabdha karma, recognized by enjoyment of royal wealth and power, in the guise of repeating the king's statements by following the process of bhakti taught by Bharat, by his mercy, the king could destroy his karmas. So, to destroy his prarabdha karma, that is one. Or another meaning is he thought he was destroying his own karmas by his experience, carrying the palanquin upabhogena, since he did not consider himself a devotee due to humility produced by prema. So this is also there that he felt that I have been whatever sins I have been. So now let me just destroy it by carrying this palanquin and all that. And like that is told. 14th verse translation we'll see. Shukdev Goswami said, O Maharaj Parikshit, when King Rahugan chastised the exalted devotee Jadabharat with harsh words, that peaceful saintly person tolerated it all and replied properly. This science is due to the bodily conception, and Jadabharat was not affected by this false conception. Out of his natural humility, he never considered himself a great devotee, and he agreed to suffer the results of his past karma. Like an ordinary man, he thought that by carrying the palanquin, he was destroying the reactions of his past misdeeds. Thinking in this way, he began to carry the palanquin. So the stress is on means the discussion about his carrying palanquin. So he thought it as his own karma. One is to destroy prarabdha karma of that person, and another is to destroy his own prarabdha karma. Yes. Any other? Prabhu saying no. I think we'll end then. Grantharaj, okay, last question. Hare Krishna.
You gave that example of Radhana Swami.
Which one?
Criminals, even they are going to jail and coming outside, they will commit the same crime. So we also have some bad habits. When we are in devotee association, they stay in normal form. But as soon as we get the conditional environment, it comes up. So how can we trust?
Same now, that day we discussed. Nashta prayashu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata seva. We have to serve pure devotees. We have to read Grantha Bhagavat and serve pure devotees. Bhagavata padogi ya bhagavata sthani. And one caution, we should not offend Vaishnavas. If we offend Vaishnavas, passion and ignorance will increase. If we serve Vaishnavas, passion and ignorance will decrease. All the anarthas, whether lust, pride, greed, envy, anger, illusion, they are products of passion or ignorance or combination of the two. So, but if we serve Vaishnavas, passion and ignorance reduce. If you offend Vaishnavas, passion and ignorance increase. It is said one who offends Vaishnavas, for him Krishna personally puts the material desires in his hand, in his heart, seeds of material desires in his heart. So his lust will grow like anything. He'll feel very lusty, he'll feel very proud, he'll feel very angry because of offending Vaishnavas. So that one should never do. One should never offend Vaishnavas. And on the contrary, serve Vaishnavas, more and more Vaishnavas in a better and better way. And chant properly, then strength will increase to serve more Vaishnavas in a better way. And then anarthas will go away. Nashta Prayashu. 75% of the anarthas will be out by anartha nivritti end. By Nishtha stage entrance, you have only 25% anarthas. They won't disturb your execution of devotional practice. You will go on. And actually, anarthas will be reduced. Means everything will be gone by prema stage. But they don't create so much disturbance anyway. To serve Vaishnavas. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says everywhere in Chaitanya Bhagavat. And always chant Hare Krishna and serve Vaishnavas. Or other times he says, always chant Hare Krishna, never offend Vaishnavas. When we want to serve Vaishnavas, we will never offend them. When we don't want to serve them, then we offend them. That's why we have to become good servants, more, better servants. And by chanting Hare Krishna also we can become better servants because we are asking for service. Service, service, service. Strength will increase. Okay. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. His Grace Dinesh Prabhu ki.